Hello. Welcome to Purple Squirrel Studios, as I call it here, wherever I am at the time and whenever now is for you. Today, I have a special friend here, Alexandre, Frédéric Joly. I may be pronouncing that right. I may be pronouncing it wrong. He'll correct me or not. For us to have a jam on there's a whole bunch of topics that we could go through today, and I'll see what tune I call when I bring him to the stage. But who was Coach AF and who is now? Maybe he will tell us in a moment. I will bring to the stage Alexandre Frédéric Joly. Hello.
Hello,
Now,
Ryan.
do I have that right? Am I close?
You are so great. You are so great with names, and I feel included and invited because of course, in the American English they will call me Alexander, which is okay. When I go in Mexico, they call me Alejandro, and in Italy it's Alessandro, and in Russia I will be Sasha. So it's and I've met great African people that name Alexandre, and they call Akshinde or Akasander or Akasak. So we have many. Yeah, our names is like Ryan. For you, it's very special name as well, and we pronounce it. It sounds like Ryan, but maybe if we go back to your roots in Norway, I think it is. We might have another kind of pronunciation with these specific language. I don't know.
They might. I don't have the umlauts over the O or anything like that. It's just I go with what.
So, but you say it perfectly as an English, because I saw the evolution when I started working in the United States back in the late 90s. They were always Alexander, like no question asked. And I do prefer now. And Coach F was a persona on my Dare Real Agile podcast. Bit rough and a bit like he might come out sometimes for some topic to call out violation.
Who knows?
Not today. Today I want to present you what my mother intended me to be called. She wanted me to be called Frédéric, ou Frédéric en français.
Fredo? I think
Fredo. It's also a nickname that a lot of people. Yeah, that's among friends. I won't see my prospect client calling me Fredo yet. It's only when we mingle. You and I, we could, of course, could call you. You could call me Fredo, but because I don't like Fred, so for sure, say Fred. It's no question. I don't want Fred. I'm not a Flintstone or what have you. But and Fredo is there to my heart because of my stepfather, who was from Calabria in Italy. So it's a kind of thing. And there's another joke my client in San Francisco did back a couple of years ago. He says, like, are you sure you want to be called Fredo? Because, he died on the lake at some point.
and the Godfather.
Yeah. And he's the clumsy one of the family. I said, yeah, but I'm clumsy, actually. And in my neuroatypy. And so I try to be, I have to do some effort. I'm really humble with you, my friend. So clumsy, it's a big word maybe. But I mean, like, I'm who I am, and with my goods and pros and cons and my improvement needed, and tuning my behavior as always. So I'm really working on this, because how is you be who you want it to be in the professional realm of they call us what, Scrum Master, sometimes Agile Coach, sometimes, and I know you have a bunch of program about this, like who is or what the F is an Agile Coach or that. So it's mean nothing. The role that you play in the play means nothing. It's how you act. It's how you deliver, actually, and deliver what's right.
There's something in this wonderful book, James Carr's Finite and Infinite Games. He goes into, and I'll say it's in the book about that when you are the actor. So there are labels. Who am I the actor? Who am I? Who's the actor? And what does it mean to play a role? Am I playing the role, or is the role playing me? And I think that may be a way to start. I would like to go with, since Coach EF is what was in maybe the Agile space and the daring in that way. Yeah. One of the you always give me a whole bunch of topics to go through, and I can never decide on which one. The one that maybe this isn't what is there, but who are you now, and what is the Renaissance? And what are the new ways that you want to bring? How's that sound? You want to go on that for a few minutes?
Yeah, but who I am, actually, I always been, and I will always be. So we never change our essence with the power of nature. and this cosmos. You know me, as a dropout of
Mm.
astrophysics, I'm always like a bit between
Mm.
science
Mm.
and esoteric. But
So I'll drop out. I'll
no,
let
no,
you
no.
go for a couple minutes. Then I'll come
Ah,
back and then we'll go with it. So
yeah,
so you get this is when we're doing jazz. We're going to
yeah,
call
yeah,
the
yeah. So,
tune and then you get a solo first. You get to play the melody and then I'll come back
all right
and
then.
accompany you
And
for a
about
few more
the who
minutes.
I am and everything. But that's it for me. It's all about like we always gonna be someone or something. Now with all
Mm.
the we talked about the play before, or doing a music or doing something.
Mm.
So for me, I'm just like a curious spiritual being experiencing this
Mm.
material world, and it's fascinating. It's fascinating from a sunrise to the sunset. And who
Mm.
I am, I'm someone who contemplate all of this. And even in the
Okay.
yeah,
I'm thinking. Okay. So you already went. So the who you are kind of you are this in the moment. So the riff I'll invite now. Um, oh, I had it for a moment. It was going to be on. It's not the new ways, the Renaissance. What tune are we going to call it? There's the yeah. We when we talk about Agile, we talk about. I think we're looking back. That all this talk is about what was and what are we going to build on what was, and I think, and some folks say, well, what's next? Well,
yeah, yeah.
well,
Everybody,
duh,
that's the
duh,
issue.
dummy.
That's
You are what's next, and so don't look for someone else to tell you what's next. That
yes,
out there and do something,
right,
and that's well. Oh, I know what it was. In this moment, right now,
right.
I would like you to riff whatever is present with you. What is in your heart? What's in your spirit? What has the fire of Alexandre right now? Right now.
But
So
that's the thing. So people are too concerned about what has been and what is next. We
okay. So,
always want next and more. And right now, for me and my art, and this, of course, even the Renaissance is not there anymore, because I discover in the semantic, I think of all languages that I master, French, English, and a little bit of Spanish, that when you put RE before something, you have the risk of being cut in a circle and not really improving yourself or improving any process or anything that you try to achieve to get it better the next time. So this is probably why everyone, including myself, we are aiming to what's next, and next level this and that and this and that. But actually, there's what about right now? What about what count for our clientele? Who the product owner, and when I say product owner here, I'm not talking about the role in Scrum. I'm talking about someone who invented something and you want to get it out, and he needs probably our help and the process and the product development and maybe a subject matter expert. So in my art, there's always, it's not a conflict. I try to take what I have in my brain, the reason part, or some people call the left brain aspect of our observation of this world and everything, and also the right brain of the creative side. And I will put it also it like, what is on their art? You ask me the question, what is fire in my heart? It was Renaissance at the end of this kind of 20 years old of the Agile Manifesto for Software Development, and everything that I built with other people surrounding Mike Beadle for Enterprise Scrum for business agility, because like this concept of evolution or improvement, if we just keep it for software development, we miss the point. We miss one of the 12 principles, actually, as to bring people together and working together to satisfy and please the customer who come to your business, because without customer you don't have a business. So for me, I want to be treated the way I treat the world and vice versa. So I'm highly motivated by this customer experience, this customer centric, and we could also say citizen experience, because more, whether we like it or not, uh, we are first citizen. We are not just a consumer. And
yeah.
there's more and more countries, especially in the West, that have more centralized government that act as a corporation. And so we need also to take attention. And Michael Ehrman, if you go to Inviting Agility, he talked about this kind, what he calls civil agility, in terms of having this kind of intention as well for us, the citizen, our experience as a whole being, actually, not just the consumer part. But if we take it just on the ground of businesses, with business process, with business architecture, organization, architecture, and design, I was thinking of a renaissance. I think at Agile Boston, I dropped that term when Daniel Mizik invited me to speak there 2 years ago, when I say Agile is the new waterfall. That was the title of it. And that's true, because from agile, disruptive, evolutive type of thing in the last 20 years, it became now with the imposition, with the agile industrial complex that Mizik and Forward talked around 2016, and all the chasm and the democratization of it. So, and now you see even one of our great co-signer, Jim Highsmith, last summer, I think he started this movement of reimagine. But remember what I said. When you put an R in front of something, you're just caught in a circle, like the snake, Ouroboros, like the dog eating his own tail. So it's not good, because you are catch into, so, let's reimagine it. Let's have a renaissance on it. But what's really next? Nothing, the same old thing, because it's a cycle of thing. Instead of breaking the cycle and move onward to really uncover new ways, as the manifesto says.
So there are a few words there, and I think there's one that comes up to me, and I wrote about it a couple of years ago. I was really frustrated. 2022. I was really frustrated about it. But this was before I even got into the Beta Codex, and even really was talking about what the Beta Codex Renaissance is talking about, which is different. There are a couple words that come to mind. One is revolution. I was talking about, who are the revolutionaries? Because we talk about, again, the American Revolution, what happened here, and all. I mean, there's so much evil and such horrible stuff happening in the world and in the Americas at times, but there was a Revolutionary War. I mean, that's not a secret, but this, I think, I believe at this point now, we're talking about, there's revolution. That's there are folks who are revolutionaries who I think, we talk about Daniel. I mean, he was kind of at the front of that, and Mike Beadle, of course, and how, I mean, so soon he passed. So there's a revolutionary aspect of it. And I think the other thing that happened, or that was happening, or that was promised, right? What was promised when
here's the thing.
It was
but you're not in the now. You're not in the carpe diem moment of what is it. So
there's the movement. Okay, so
the movement. So that's the thing. So, of course, in astronomy, we have the revolution around the sun. It's revolving. That's so. I don't want to do too much semantic, but I could understand that. But I remember a very nice gin talk, because Mike and I, we love gin. Gin is our liquor. We are gin men, and we're back in New York a couple of years ago, having those kind of discussion like we have right now, but with a gin and another martini, and this and that. And we came to the conclusion that the revolution, or the revolutionary, why don't we change it to a more kind of positive, constructive word that imply an energy that you put into it, such as the innovator. And the innovator next to them is the early adopter of this idea, of this
Rogers
proposal.
curve. Yeah,
but I mean, like, that's the real kind of path to evolution. And what I love is, in English especially, in evolution, you have love backward at the beginning. No, but it's important to put forward this love, because without love, there can be humanity. And right now, it's not from me. I'm quoting Max Kaiser, who used to be a broker in Wall Street, and he have his renaissance, he have his epiphany moment. And I know you love music. I don't know if you know Dave Seaman. He's a great Australian DJ and music producer. He do trance music. We cannot play it right now, but maybe. And you see, that was in 2000. That was in 2000. He released this compilation in 2000 with very beautiful, uplifting. You see again, and he called it Renaissance, and he used also the drawing of these Renaissance painter of Florence, because the last Renaissance in our human history, it was in Florence. And now when we talk about Renaissance 2.0, because for me, my first Renaissance that I explained since 2021 was not about the Agile movement, which is or the Agile space, or call it whatever you want. It was more about like this other movement, this other innovation with early adopter is the blockchain technology, the Internet of Money.
Yeah.
Okay, this protocol, it's really a standard of practice created by the Bitcoiner. Now Ethereum has done this too. And this is the thing. So you have always the original. We could go back to Plato's cave. Is it like, what is the OG thing?
Yeah.
And the real McCoy, Dr. McCoy was a brilliant engineer in Chicago. And when we say like this metal is real McCoy, it's because they respect the standard of quality. So for me, what's in my heart again, and for this, I don't care less about a revolutionary someone. I could care less about someone who would like to propose a reimagination of something. Could you just imagine something new for now and moving onward with this continuous improvement aspect? Because if we truly are these agents of change, these transformation, for action, could we walk the talk, or just talking into a class to certify them? Because the inflation of certification, look at the market right now. A lot of people ask, what is an agile coach? There's no more agile coach. Look at the mandate or job description. They all want a scrum master, but they don't even know how to define a scrum master. So it's all messed up when you democratize this without any integration.
This is an old argument, just renaming and rehiring project managers as scrum masters. And I think this, and I read this, a guy named Martin Dahlming, I think you probably know who Martin is. I thought this was really interesting that he said, Scrum didn't change, the organization in general. That Scrum didn't change organizations so much. The organizational body changed Scrum, and that's not an original thought, but Scrum became something else or over time. And when whether it was the not the entropy necessarily, there was such. And the organizational system resists and molds Scrum into, well, what does this look like? Oh, this is just project management with shorter cycles.
Yes and no, Ryan. Yes and no, Ryan. Because the thing with that emulation from the manufacturing world, from that paper of the new product management or development game that was called by Itachi and Tanaka in 1986, by the way. It was, as you said, a project management system based on empirism to cut the waste, because it was a lean thinking. Scrum has nothing to do with Agile. Scrum and extreme programming are those among the 17 guys who were the most innovative in terms of delivery and delivering what's right. Because at the end of the day, a business owner, an innovator, a creator wants to have his product into the world. He doesn't want to discuss or to debate about what is an agile coach. Do we need an agile coach? Doesn't exist anyway. Especially when those, I won't name anyone here because I don't want to be sued or whatever, but these are so lame duck people. They are so like fake people that went into the space just prior to the chasm and to democratize it with all kind of BS and thing. And you probably saw it in your research, this umbrella of agile practice when they put Kanban and Scrum underneath that. It's not agile practice. They are lean practice to cut the waste and to go through the delivery. And this is exactly right now, my meeting this morning, my meeting that I have after you, when I talk to CIO, CTO, technological and information people, also CXO, the experience C-level person. They don't want to hear about this. And what I did in my last client that ends last Friday, we did a delivery that was including also not a transformation with Agile or what have you. No, they don't want to have any names. What they want is concrete, pragmatic stuff, and show us into a whiteboard within an open space, maybe not the open space that you and I know, but at least let's try to have something open and a space, visual for everyone, transparency, and this invitation base from Danielle and the open leadership. But is it done exactly as it should be or respecting all the rule of the game? No. Probably people at the OST will be pissed off about it. But at the end of the day, what they want is they at least try to make everything visual, to make everyone agreed onto a cohesion, to make it happen. That's the thing. They want to make it happen. You ask about the now. The now is, could I have my product first? When I was an Apple in 2006, I've seen the smashing of the iPhone 2 in the wall. And it took like the guy who is the co-inventor. I don't remember his name. He was
Johnny Ive?
Magic. No. John Ive was the designer. It was great. It was a great man. But the other guy, Todd, someone who worked at General Magic.
God.
So I don't remember his name. But anyways, and with John Ive, yes, they calmed him down and they said like, MVP, my friend, Steven, I know it's not your perfect product, but if you don't go, Samsung will launch before you. So here's the thing. So and do you think that I was already a Scrum Master in 2006?
Yeah, no.
They didn't hire me as a Scrum Master. I was an executive experience designer for whatever thing that was the title. But the thing is, everybody was delivering in a full-on Scrum without calling it Scrum. And this is why model is the same thing. A lot of people call Spotify model that doesn't exist. Spotify is a Scrum-based managed company because to return to you, they did apply, like my friend in Austin, Texas, Urban Acolyte. Urban Acolyte, there you could build a company, a startup from scratch using the Scrum process. And then you implicate it into your everything. So that's what we call, some of us call enterprise Scrum, like Mike Beadle created it.
So there's a couple things I want to go there. I do want you to sing me a song of Enterprise Scrum. I mean, we don't have a ton of time here, but I would like to hear the song of Enterprise Scrum. And also something that came up in the last couple of weeks. I don't know if you'd seen this about founder mode. Have you heard about founder mode?
You mean the founder mode, those who found the company, or what is it?
Well, there was Paul Graham, the Y Combinator guy. He wrote this article that was getting into what the founder of Airbnb, I forget what his name is, but
yeah, me too.
It was talking about how founders the Steve Jobs advice that people just took and perverted was like, hire smart people and get out of their way.
Exactly. Right? This is exactly Scrum. This is Scrum.
Well,
this is enterprise Scrum.
But he.
This is substantial architecture.
Okay, so I'm going to get there. But
song.
Paul. So I won't get you in the song. But Paul Graham's position there about this founder mode thing, and what the Airbnb guy said. No. If you release too much control, then stuff goes sideways, and that what founder mode means is for someone to be more active and owning what the product is or how it is. And I could go a lot. So if that's not familiar with, but if that gets you to the song of Enterprise Scrum, let us do that, because I think
the song of Enterprise Scrum, it's a generic framework from the word of Mike, but Mike will sing a song actually between meetings with his guitar, because he was playing me, and the song goes like this. And I'm not a good singer, and I know what you mean by a song. I could explain briefly what is Enterprise Scrum, and it was made as a generic framework for business agility, which means that you put enterprise in front of Scrum. It's like putting intelligence somewhere. So, I mean, you are using, based on Scrum, the great Scrum system that work with a substantial architecture layer and the interaction of all the stakeholders into it at the services of the customer. And everyone is at the services of someone. And that's why when you ask a song about it, Mike, I actually have a video on my channel. I could link it to you after that. You see literally him doing the piano and saying like, the customer is the most important thing, is the most important stakeholders. I'm not saying as good as him, but and then he played piano, kind of a jazzy New York type late night martini bar, and he says like, without the customer, you won't have a business, and you won't be a founder, and your innovation will be in the sink. And there you go. So that's the thing. And it's come from Peter Drucker. It was inspired by Peter Drucker. Is it Drucker? Or
Drucker, I think is the
Drucker. I don't know exactly. This guy from the business school, I think, in 1950s. And he says like
my friend Niels wrote
exactly
wrote a
Drucker,
book on
exactly. What
Drucker.
will Drucker do? Actually, in 1952, he coined that phrase: "Without a customer, you don't have a business."
Yeah.
And the first goal of any enterprise,
the purpose of the business is to
it's
create
to create a customer. But it started with this phrase that I just told you, and then after he re-amplify it with your first goal is to create your customer. If it's because a lot of people will focus on the product. I got some entrepreneur that need my help sometimes at the startup, and 9 out of 10 will fail even before going to the raise of money or the funding of this, because they are not looking at what the market wants. Because you asked me earlier, oh, what's your art is flamboyant about? What is, at the end of the day, as an individual, I could say like, oh, I'd like to go kayak with you and your son or your daughter, who have you, and go like, whatever things that we could do together. It's going to be good to go fishing. That's in my heart. But you and I will have to pay some bills. It's like Costa Grava. Costa Grava is one of my favorite director from Spain, from Andalusia, actually. And he has a film called Amen about the Nazi Germany starting slowly in 1932 to kill people, not just the Jew right away. They start killing the people with trisomy, with mental deficiency, like slowly. And the priest,
the eugenics and all of that
yes,
kind of thing.
and the priest says, "Hey, hold on a second. That's again the Church of Germany." And he went to Rome, and his father was. It's a film based on true story, but it's romantic. And one of the phrases that I love when people argue about all the things and what I want, compare it to the me to we and me. So, and the priest played by Mathieu Kassovitch, actually, one of the great French actor. And the movie originally is multilingual, but anyways, the thing is, at some point, his father was kind of, I don't know the title of it, but in the Vatican, they are close to the Pope. And so if you don't pass that gatekeeper, you won't have able to have a meeting with the Pope. So that priest from Berlin wanted to talk to the Pope about the harsh reality of this eugenic program, killing those, exactly what we lived through COVID, the non-essential people. That was exactly the name Goebbels used. Goebbels used non-essential in 1932. The same word that our authority used for the COVID. The non-essential people should stay locked down. So be careful about it. I'm not saying like everybody was Nazi and the COVID thing, but they use words that we forget after 75 years. That's the thing. But anyways, his father at some point, he says like, hold on a second, my son. There's the world or life. There's life as we would like to be, and life as it is. Unfortunately, Ryan, we live it as it is. So you could be the most innovative person. You could be the most founder people. If I take back your name from Paul, you could want to design this enterprise subscription architecture. You want to do this. I want to change the world of work. Start there. I want to be revolutionary. Yeah, but at the end of the day, there's law. And the first thing we learn in our bachelor in physics before going to astronomy and astrophysics and nuclear physics is 20% of all things are these deterministic law. All the rest, 80%, is the probability from these law, because we didn't uncover everything yet to understand that interaction into the world, the external world. And the external world, through our perception, our narrow perception of 1% light only, not even 1% of light that we see. We are in the dark. We are a species and it's three-dimensional in the dark. That's proven science at some point. Again, it's 20% law, the dynamic law of nature, and 80% of probability, because for what we know in the 20%, we don't predict. It's just the probability that this will happen. Let's test it. Let's be empirical. So take it back to our world of work, our professional services to these organizations that wants to uncover new ways. The first phrase of this manifesto that everybody's forgetting. And everybody's forgetting to be a leader who serve with the control you spoke before.
Yeah.
There's no way to ask a Scrum Master to be in control. He's there or she's there to facilitate this understanding, to uncover those new ways that will be better according to the information we have. So just take those 20%. What is the 20% law? Is it the Scrum Guide? No, it's not the Scrum Guide. Is the common sense.
The Pareto. I mean, we talked about Pareto for a long time, right? So what you're saying here, that is, there's the known, there's what can be defined, what are the laws. I would call it the complicatedness of the stable systems together that we can identify and understand, and then the empirical process that you develop theories and hypotheses based on what may be out there, and you're talking about the probabilities of the rest of the 80% of the unknown. And then there's, again, we talk about the unknown, the unknowable, the adjacent unknown, and the possibilities. And this, the other thing we're talking about, okay, so if we're moving forward to what are the possibilities? What is the invitation to the possibilities? What possibilities do we wish to commit to? How do we hold each other accountable for making promises based on that? So those words together is very interesting, that they come from a book called Community by Peter Block. I don't know if you're familiar with Peter Block, but he's a very well-known consultant and community builder. But and again, I've said for a long time, there is no agile community. It's bull crap. That there are communities of people that have membership boundaries, and that there's a population of people who do stuff that's related to agile. That's not a community. Communities have boundaries, membership, and there's connection, there's citizenship.
But they'll tell you that
we're talking about invitation to possibilities.
Yeah, but they'll tell you that Agile Alliance is there as the safeguard of this artifact and this and that, and this is the body, not the body of knowledge, but the body of as a community. But as you could see, there's so many others. But at some point it's healthy, because my perspective is we need to be decentralized, because if you want to force a cohesion to a too much greater number, this is when fakeness and disengagement happen. So that's why for me, I'm an ultra-federalist in that sense. I do believe, and that's why I love your country at some point. Like, if people can understand the power of each county within the states, even the city and everything, it's not like, and that's why, because we are in an election cycle for you, so let's talk about it, like, without doing politics. I'm just doing organizational design here. And if you really understand the Republic, as I understand it, with my other bachelor in political science, and I did not a master, but a major in U.S. politics, because I love it. It's probably the first republic that move on beyond what Plato has in mind in terms of the interaction of the citizens craftsmanship, and the people for the people. It's not just buzzword. It could be misinterpreted. But what I'm saying is, when it's truly applied, and that's the thing, the same thing after 250 years, soon in 2026, this great Republic of America, will it become an empire? Because it's not an empire yet. But when it's coming,
some would disagree with that.
Okay, I'm not talking about the military aim and all of this, because in that case, because for me, an empire is the beginning of the downfall of the civilization, because it's centralized, it's concentrate things. But when it's still decentralized, when people have a say, and that's why when I was in the United States a couple of weeks ago, and people talk, of course, of the election, and with one of my friends who is an American, we start challenging the crowd at the dinner. Why are you putting everything into only 2% for the highest office? How is it that candidate A or candidate B has to propose to you that will affect your exact life and your locality? Why don't you pay attention to your sheriff, to your governor, to your county executive, whatever the thing is, and to be there acting as a democratic person? And when I say democratic here, I'm not talking about the party. I'm talking about like
paying attention to what matters to you in the place where you are.
So my emulation to our. Oh, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. So so if we apply these concept of the dynamic So what's wrong with this agile space or this agile movement or even that community that doesn't exist necessarily, or it exists in the sense of if you are a member of Agile Alliance or Scrum Alliance or Scrum Org, and you are certified because you're not just a member, you're certified. Hey, we decide as a body of knowledge that you are certified to do this. So how come that I was the greatest Scrum Master of Montreal and Quebec between 1999 and 2010 when the first Scrum Guide happened in 2010. And in 2016, it was my first certification after almost 20 years of practicing Scrum. But the market, the world we're living in, not the world I would like to be, the world we're living in was forcing me to get it, to have more contract or just to secure my actual contract.
You had to
So yeah. So anyways, maybe I'm digressing.
No. This is fantastic. We could go like the last time we did this. That's the secret version that we didn't release, so people. So you can tease.
You might decide to use some bites if you'd like.
Maybe we'll see. So right now, the thing that I do in some way or another is the dangerous question. What's the dangerous question that invites the dangerous conversation? And for you, want to come into that. What is the dangerous question for you right now? And I'll let you go on for that for a moment, and then I'll come back and we'll close up.
The dangerous question in terms of like, why are we not asking because we might have fear. I got so many, my friend. I don't know. It's this chasm issue, and I'm really like I know we talked about it before, but now I don't know if I should bring. Why is everyone is focusing on this narrative we have in businesses and organization about the diversity, equity, I think we say in English.
Yeah,
equity, and this inclusion. And also at the corporate level, all of this show me that you're so clean, you're so ecologically responsible with this ESG. These are great ideas. These are some kind of virtue. But I see too much constraint coming out from there. And I think this is a dangerous question that we don't have, and especially the agile people. The agile people should be there to help everyone thinking otherwise, thinking different, uncovering new ways of working and delivering. And so this is why, like, you see this kind of things. What is the mission of Scrum and the lean thinking beside the agile software development with Scrum and with any other things? And now you have those so-called agile coach that actually took the job of the change management and the human resources or the process organizational or the enterprise architecture, actually. So that's why it is confusing for a lot of people. But again, these organizations are just focusing on DE&I and ESG. And I was in a meeting facilitating actually a kind of an open space to bring out some ideas to design something new into an organization. And I was really pleased to see that great diversity, Ryan, that we have in front of us, an equilibrium of women and men, an equilibrium of fantastic people from all around the world, but they have all the same mindset. They were unable to be a disruptor of their market. They were unable to call out their competitor. They wanted so much to be diverse and what is seen. There was no diversity of substance. There were no inclusion of ideas of others. And I even felt in the room that people were scared to speak out about their idea that will improve the businesses or at least the customer and even the employee experience. And so if we go back 30, 40 years ago with the control and command, that was at least clear. I'm the boss here, and you do as I say, top down, shut up. Right? Sort of, actually. Now with this liberated structure, everything we did in the last 2 decades, with or without Agile, by the way, because there's other thing than Agile, because Agile was so much software development. That's why I say it's 14 guys. That's another question we don't ask. Nobody know the history of those 17 guys that met in Utah. And why only just guys? Where were the women? Because women in tech were in a ratio even more back then in the 1980s and 90s. You know that, huh? From the 1950s to the 1990s, it's a decreasing of women in tech. There were more women in tech in the 1950s than there are right now. And any kind of specialization, software programmer, architect, and everything. So anyways, but the thing is, it was on invitation, as you mentioned. So are we invited into something? Yes, that's good. Then we agree? Oh, yes. So we take 1 day to agree on the term agile. Okay, so agile, it's an adjective. So agile was there before, especially in sports. And because the Scrum guy and the extreme programming guy were inspiring by the rugby interaction of a Scrum to have a cohesion and delivering the same thing, respecting the vision of Ryan as the owner of the idea of the innovation, or the founder, if you may want to say. But so you get the idea. It's so simple. And why is it hard and disruptive, as Ken Schraber mentioned in a little paper that I use in my training? And why it is hard to apply? It's because of the lack of courage that people have, and the non-intentional, I do believe. I don't believe that people are mad that much, but it's a non-intentional incapability of seeing the big picture and applying something specific without a non-size fit all. And this is what I call the inflation of certification since at least 2015.
Yeah.
Because, and I went through that because the market forced me to have some letters next to my name because I couldn't care less. I have my proven experience.
You gotta have the signal. You gotta have the signal.
Yeah. And but I realized in these group, and then after following Mike and other CST or trainers, that it's a being beside the money. It could be a nice thing if you network and if you learn from each other. That don't get me wrong. The paper could be something nice. I could understand it's a good, especially in a high cost country of education, that could be a good thing to go seek for professional thing. But the problem is, again, the 80% of those who propose, and by the way, it's both for Scrum Alliance and Scrum Org, if we talk about Scrum, and the ICF, the same
Scrum
thing.
Inc. Scrum Inc. too.
But not just Scrum, it's everything. Also the professional coach certification and everything. So they don't do it, and a meaning of you're 3 days in an hotels, you mingle with people, and then after you pass an exam, and then after, and so this is with Scrum Alliance, because Scrum Org is even worse. You could do it self-serve. So which means that there's no control, literally, especially now with ChatGPT. Could you imagine all the shit that I mean? So yeah, so for me, it's great. Like 80% of our buddies in the space, they just did it because the market was asking it, or because, and now the market done asking it, so they all bench. And they are becoming
what certification do we need now?
They are become back project manager. They are become back whatever they were before this hype. So that's for me. So the invitation is not enough. It's the agreement of doing the thing right to deliver right thing. And at the end of the day, that's what I realized, especially the last 5 years. It's not new for me. It's I knew it probably in the turn of 2017, just 1 year after we start calling out this AAC, Agile Industrial Complex, and the big firm doing it. And you'll see the same BS with the blockchain when Goldman Sachs and BlackRock are getting into the space. Like back in the day when you saw the big four, Deloitte, Pricewaterhouse, getting into the Agile space, building an Agile transformation office. Oh my goodness. So this is when if I can say the S word, the shit hit the fan, and then the fan is blowing like boom. So we are there now, and this is the now. And for me, the next, I'm not expecting anything next. I don't want to reimagine it. I just want to accept that once and for all, it's the death of an Agile coach, like the death of a salesman from Arthur Miller. Just accept it and move on. Do something else. Do something else great for you, for your family, and for the world around. And so you could, and I'm not saying like just follow the trend. No, you could be the trend also. So let's do this. So So I think what Mizik do, what Neil do, what you do, what some other do is try to create something that will be more relevant. Sue with taking over Enterprise Scrum into this architecture of subscription, and of course you do it specifically into this scaling stuff of the organization, but there's so much application after you could do, and by her inputting the robotic Ken, it's great because AI will be a robot. I'm not talking about a sentient being, but we are, and this AI thing will be the same thing as 2000.com bubble. The internet was so great in the late 90s, it bust.
Yeah.
So there will be, for those who'd like to buy share right now at OpenAI, Microsoft, and Tesla, not Tesla, but Elon Musk has also a share funding of the. So everybody is putting money there, attention there. Watch it. Watch the market crash. Watch the bubble burst, like the .com. And only the big one, the big four, again, the big five will survive. Why is it always like this? Only 3, 4, 5 that survived all of these things. So and then remember, it's artificial. Just
I think we need more NL. I think we need more natural love and artificial intelligence.
And again, once we have it, like when my teacher in physics was asked, "Do you believe in Hazard? What's this again? Sorry about that. Is it Hazard? No, not Hazard as biohazard, but he said, "Do you believe in chaos, or do you believe in something that happened like out of thin air?" And he says, like, not quietly, because he reminds us about this. He says, like, the wall is not just a deterministic thing.
Oh, cause and effect.
Cause and effect, yes, there's that. But this part is still of the 20% of law that we know. It's the natural law, because when you look at physics, biology, and chemistry, it's all natural law that we observe and empirically test. And the rest is just probability. Let's make an assumption that maybe that will happen. If I come back to the same thing. So if people could have this kind of layback thing about anything we do, including this agile space, and they said that's what they want to do last summer in Dallas for the agile.
The reimagining.
Yeah, but I don't even think, like, because those people don't have this capacity to think in terms of these perspective. And once again, in my almost 25 years of practicing Scrum and different type of level, all my colleagues who were also from a scientific background were so much better in applying it and walking the talk of it, because it's the core of it. It's an empirical system. Call it Scrum if you'd like, because those Japanese were looking at the Australian. It's like the Java code. It's because we want to burst it into the smaller level of code comprehension. So like the coffee from Sumatra Island, Java. So it's all just words.
Yeah,
we don't care about it. Again, I do believe that the here and now is, could we have a better experience altogether with our product, with our solution, with our services? And you'll see, because people are wasting so much time in this dangerous question of having a kind of a intersectionality of inclusion that exclude others. That's the funny part of it that I saw in some organization. You want so much, and I won't name anything because I don't want to be divider, but you could read in between the line. I could give you an example, though, without naming anything. There were people supporting one side during a war that started in 2022. I'll say that much. And some developers came to me as the enterprise agile coach. They say, "Hey, Fredo, should I be worried working here? Because I'm identified as the other side. And I don't feel great when I saw the CEO of the company at the town hall giving so much support." And he said, as a human being, I don't like the other side being like killed and shot at and this and that. But I don't think all our colleagues are doing substantion, which means that they don't understand us. And I really don't feel good. I might resign and go somewhere else where they don't talk about it in the town hall. So you see, and that was done on because the VP of social and people and culture oh, it's so important that we talked about it in our town hall because it's just happened.
No,
But
no, it's
they
not.
exclude people by trying to be inclusive, and they kind of taking side without taking side. You see what I mean? So
You can talk within this box, but you can't
yeah,
talk outside the box. And that's a song. It's so
that's a
funny
song.
how
But
we
what I'm
don't
saying, just to
talk
conclude, my
anymore.
dear friend, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah, so
is
you get your closing riff, and then
yes,
I'll take us out. So
stop like the great rap group of 1990s, Public Enemy used to sing. Don't, don't, don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. Think for yourself. Research. Be curious. Ask question. Stop judging the others. Stop seeing the others as an enemy, an adversary. Because as my Mayan teacher often says, we are all love in Lakesh.
I'm like in. Oh, my friend. We kept it under an hour this time. So I'll give us some claps for that. I'll put you backstage, and then let's say goodbye to those folks out there.
Goodbye, guys. And remember who you truly are. You are a beautiful human being
Mm.
of love. You could be whoever you wanted to be. You could do whatever you wanted to do in respect of one another. Love you.
Love you too. Wow, what a dance we had. And I hope that you who are out there and whatever now you are in, that you felt the love, and that you are willing to dance with fear and ask questions that may not be very comfortable, but they will connect and connect us all. Thank you for the precious gift of your time and attention.